The Mark of the Beast and the Evolution of Money. How the world is moving toward a digital financial age. Dear friends, the mark of the beast described in Revelation chapter 13 will not suddenly appear in the world overnight. It will not come in a way that every person immediately recognizes. Instead, it may come through a long process of transformation, through gradual changes that take place over generations. Throughout history, humanity has experienced many great changes. Things that once seemed impossible eventually became normal. New technologies appeared. New systems were created. New ways of living became part of everyday life. And because these changes often happen slowly, people can easily accept them without stopping to ask, where is this leading us? This is why the Bible repeatedly tells believers to remain awake, watchful, and spiritually discerning. Jesus warned his followers not to be unaware of the signs of the times. The world does not always change through sudden events. Sometimes the greatest transformations happen quietly, step by step, until society reaches a point where the change becomes impossible to reverse. The future of money is changing. One of the greatest transformations happening today is the evolution of money. For thousands of years, humanity used physical forms of money. Gold and silver were valued because they were rare, durable, and accepted across civilizations. Money was something people could hold in their hands. It represented value that could be exchanged between individuals. But over time, the financial system changed. Physical precious metals were replaced by paper currency. Instead of money being valuable because of the material itself, paper currency became valuable because people trusted the government and financial institutions behind it. This became the modern system of fiat money. Then another major change arrived. The digital revolution transformed the way people use money. Credit cards replaced many cash transactions. Online banking connected people to financial systems through computers. Smartphones created instant mobile payments. Today, millions of people around the world can buy goods, send money, and manage their finances without ever touching physical cash. Many people see this as progress. And there is no doubt that digital payments have brought convenience. Payments are faster. Businesses can operate more efficiently. People can transfer money across borders in seconds. However, every major technological change also brings important questions. The disappearance of cash. Around the world, societies are moving closer to becoming cashless. Many businesses now prefer digital payments. Many people rarely carry cash anymore. Governments and financial institutions often promote digital payments because they can reduce costs, increase efficiency, and help prevent certain types of financial crime. But as cash disappears, something else changes. The relationship between individuals and money changes. Cash allows a person to make a transaction directly. Digital payments create records. Every purchase, every transfer, and every financial activity can become part of a digital system. This creates important questions. How much privacy will people have in the future? Who controls the financial system? What happens if access to money becomes connected to approval from a centralized authority? These are not just technological questions. They are questions about freedom, privacy, and human dignity. The power behind money. Throughout history, money has always been connected to power. Those who control financial systems often have significant influence over society. Money is not only about buying and selling. It is connected to independence, personal choices, and the ability to participate in everyday life. This is why many people are watching the development of digital financial systems very closely. The question is not simply, is digital money convenient? The deeper question is, could a financial system ever become powerful enough to control human behavior? The connection to biblical prophecy. For many Christians, these developments bring their attention back to Revelation chapter 13. The Bible describes a future time when a system will affect the ability to buy and sell. For centuries, many believers wondered how such a worldwide system could ever become possible. How could buying and selling be connected to a single system? How could economic participation become controlled on a global scale? In previous generations, such a scenario seemed impossible. But today, with the development of global financial networks, digital technology, artificial intelligence, and electronic identification systems, many people believe these questions deserve serious consideration. The purpose is not to create fear. The purpose is to encourage spiritual awareness. Technology itself is not evil. Human inventions can be used for good purposes. But history teaches us that powerful systems must always be guided by truth, justice, and accountability. The first step, a gradual transformation. The transformation of money did not happen in one day. It moved through many stages: gold and silver, paper currency, bank accounts, credit cards, online payments, mobile banking, digital wallets, and now discussions about central bank digital currencies. Each step brought greater convenience. Each step also created greater dependence on digital systems. This is why believers must pay attention, not because every technology is automatically dangerous, but because every major change should be examined with wisdom. The Bible calls believers to be watchmen. A watchman does not create panic. A watchman observes carefully. A watchman warns when danger may be approaching. As the world moves toward a new financial era, Christians must ask, are we becoming more dependent on human systems than on God? Are we willing to sacrifice freedom for convenience? Are we spiritually prepared for the changes ahead? The greatest question is not only what kind of money the world will use in the future. The greatest question is, will humanity remain faithful to God when the world around us changes? This is why we must stay awake. This is why we must seek wisdom. Part 2. CBDC and the rise of programmable money. Is digital currency opening the door to a new form of control? As humanity moves deeper into a digital financial world, we arrive at the second major stage of this transformation: the rise of central bank digital currency, known as CBDC. CBDC stands for Central Bank Digital Currency. Unlike Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, CBDC is not decentralized. It is issued and controlled by a nation's central bank. In simple terms, CBDC is a digital form of national currency. A digital dollar, a digital euro, a digital yuan, a digital form of money created and managed by a central authority. Supporters of CBDC argue that it can bring many benefits. They say it can make payments faster, reduce financial crime, improve international transactions, and provide greater access to financial services. From a technological perspective, these advantages may seem attractive, but many people are also asking deeper questions. What happens when money becomes completely digital? Who has the power to control that system? Could digital money ever be used beyond its original purpose? These questions are becoming increasingly important as the world moves toward a more connected financial system. The difference between digital banking and CBDC. Many people already use digital money today. When we use online banking, credit cards, or mobile payment apps, we are already using electronic forms of money. However, CBDC introduces a different level of involvement. Traditional digital payments usually operate through commercial banks and financial companies. CBDC would be directly connected to the central banking system. This means the relationship between individuals and money could fundamentally change. Money would no longer simply be something people hold and exchange. It could become part of a larger digital network managed by central institutions. The possibility of programmable money. One of the most discussed features of digital currency is the idea of programmable money. In a digital system, money could potentially carry certain conditions or rules. Supporters argue that this technology could improve efficiency. For example, governments could distribute emergency funds directly to citizens. Aid programs could ensure that assistance reaches its intended purpose. Financial systems could become more transparent. However, critics raise concerns about the possibility of misuse. They ask, could a future system limit how people spend their own money? Could certain purchases be restricted? Could access to financial services become connected to personal behavior or government policies? These questions are at the center of the debate surrounding digital currencies. The importance of financial freedom. Throughout history, money has always been connected to personal freedom. The ability to work, earn, save, and exchange value is a fundamental part of human society. Therefore, many people believe that any future financial system must protect individual freedom, privacy, personal ownership, the right to participate in economic life. A system designed for convenience must never become a tool for unjust control. Revelation 13, and the question of buying and selling. For many Christians, the discussion about digital currency brings attention to Revelation chapter 13. The Bible describes a future system where a power would influence the ability to buy and sell. Because of this prophecy, some believers wonder whether the development of digital money could eventually create the technological foundation for such a system. They point to the gradual progression: physical money, electronic payments, digital wallets, central bank digital currencies, digital identity systems. They believe this progression shows how a global economic system could eventually become possible. The concern is not simply the existence of technology. The deeper concern is how technology may be used by human authorities. Technology can be used for good. It can improve communication, medicine, education, and financial access. But history also shows that powerful tools can be misused when they are placed in the hands of those who seek control. The need for spiritual discernment. Jesus repeatedly warned his followers to remain watchful. The Bible does not call believers to live in fear. Instead, it calls them to have wisdom, understanding, and spiritual awareness. The challenge for Christians today is to recognize the difference between fear and discernment, panic and preparation, ignorance and wisdom. As the world changes rapidly, believers must carefully examine the direction of society while keeping their faith firmly grounded in God. The question is not only, what new technology is coming? The deeper question is, how will humanity use that technology? And most importantly, will mankind continue to honor God and protect human dignity in the age of digital transformation? The future of money may change dramatically, but the need for truth, faith, and spiritual wisdom will never change. Part 3. Digital identity, biometrics, and the final stage of control. Could technology become connected to the prophecy of Revelation 13? As the world moves toward a more digital society, another important development is taking place. It is the connection between digital identity and financial systems. Today, many people already use digital identities every day. We use passwords, smartphones, online accounts, facial recognition, fingerprints, and other forms of verification to access services. These technologies are designed to make life more convenient and secure. But as these systems become more connected, important questions arise. What happens when a person's identity, financial information, and daily activities become connected through one integrated digital system? The rise of digital identity. A digital identity system allows people to prove who they are through electronic methods. Instead of carrying physical documents, a person's identity can be verified through digital records. Around the world, governments and technology companies are developing digital identity systems for many purposes. Faster access to government services, more secure financial transactions, online verification, reducing identity theft. Supporters say these systems can make society more efficient. However, critics warn that a highly centralized identity system could create new risks. They ask, could personal information become too concentrated in the hands of a few powerful institutions? Could digital access become a requirement for participating in society? Could financial activity eventually become connected to a person's digital identity? These questions are part of a growing global discussion. The combination of money, identity, and technology. Throughout history, money and identity were separate. A person could use cash without revealing personal information. But in a fully digital financial environment, every transaction may be connected to a digital record. This creates a new possibility. A financial system where money, identity, and technology operate together. Some people believe this could create a level of control never before possible in human history. They point to the possibility of systems where access to financial services could depend on digital approval. For many Christians studying biblical prophecy, this raises serious spiritual questions. Revelation chapter 13 and the Mark of the Beast. The book of Revelation describes a future system. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark. Revelation 13:16 through 17. For centuries, believers have wondered how such a system could exist. How could the entire world participate in a system where buying and selling could be controlled? In previous generations, this seemed impossible. But today, with global financial networks, digital currencies, artificial intelligence, and digital identification systems, many believers see technological developments that make such a scenario imaginable. They believe the mark described in Revelation would not necessarily appear suddenly, but could emerge through gradual steps. A process of increasing dependence. A process where convenience slowly replaces independence. The danger of losing freedom. The concern is not technology itself. Technology can be a powerful tool for good. It can help people communicate, improve medicine, increase knowledge, and solve many problems. The question is, who controls the technology and how is it used? A system created to provide convenience could become dangerous if it removes personal freedom and gives unlimited authority to a centralized power. History has shown that whenever human beings receive great power without accountability, there is a risk of abuse. Therefore, wisdom and careful examination are necessary. A time to watch and discern. Jesus told his followers to remain awake and watchful. This does not mean believers should live in fear. It means they should understand the times they are living in. The Bible teaches that events of the last days will involve spiritual deception, human pride, and the struggle between God's truth and the systems of this world. Therefore, Christians must ask, are we becoming dependent on systems more than we depend on God? Are we trading freedom for convenience? Are we paying attention to the direction of society? The final test is spiritual, not just technological. The ultimate issue is not simply about money or technology. The deeper issue is worship, loyalty, and faithfulness to God. The mark of the beast described in Revelation is connected not only to economic activity, but also to spiritual allegiance. The greatest preparation is not only understanding technology, it is strengthening faith. It is knowing God's Word. It is standing firm when the world changes around us. As the world moves toward greater digital connection, believers are called to remain wise, faithful, and spiritually awake. Because the greatest question of the future is not only, what system will the world create? The greatest question is, will humanity remain faithful to God when that system arrives? Part 4. Global crisis, economic collapse, and the final warning. Will humanity choose convenience or faithfulness? Throughout history, humanity has experienced many moments of great change. Empires have risen and fallen. Economic systems have changed. Nations have faced wars, disasters, and financial crises. And many times, during periods of fear and uncertainty, people have been willing to accept major changes in exchange for security and stability. This raises an important question. Could a global crisis become the moment when a new worldwide system is introduced? Crisis and the rise of a new system. History shows that major changes often happen during times of crisis. When people experience fear, confusion, and uncertainty, they naturally look for solutions. Imagine a world facing severe economic instability, extreme inflation, a collapse of financial systems, shortages of essential resources, global conflicts and uncertainty. In such a situation, many people may welcome a new system that promises more security, more stability, more convenience, a better financial future. A completely digital financial system could be presented as the answer to many problems. People might be told, this will make the economy safer. This will prevent financial crimes. This will create a more transparent world. Many may accept such a system because they believe it is necessary for survival. The prophetic concern. For many Christians, this possibility connects with the warning found in Revelation chapter 13. The Bible describes a time when economic participation becomes connected with a powerful system. The issue is not simply technology. The deeper issue is whether humanity will allow earthly systems to take the place of God's authority. The greatest danger is not a device, a computer system, or a form of payment. The greatest danger is the human heart. Technology can be used for good, but when human power becomes unlimited and separated from truth and righteousness, it can become a tool of oppression. Will people trade freedom for convenience? One of the greatest challenges of the modern age is the temptation to exchange freedom for comfort. People often say, as long as life is easier, it does not matter. But history teaches us that freedom must be protected. Small changes over time can lead to major transformations. A society may gradually accept things that previous generations would never have imagined. This is why believers are called to remain watchful, not fearful. Not filled with panic, but spiritually awake. The example of Noah. The Bible tells us about Noah. For many years, Noah warned people about the coming judgment. But the people continued their daily lives. They ate, they drank, they built. They continued as if nothing would happen until the flood came. Jesus himself referred to the days of Noah when speaking about the end times. The warning was not that people lacked intelligence. The warning was that they were spiritually unaware. They could not recognize the seriousness of the time they were living in. The Apostle Peter's warning. The Apostle Peter also spoke about a future judgment. He wrote that the present heavens and earth are reserved for judgment. The Bible warns that the world will not continue forever in its current condition. This message is not meant to create hopelessness. It is a call to repentance, faith, and spiritual preparation. The role of the church in the last days. In times of great change, the responsibility of the church becomes even more important. The church must not simply follow every trend of the world without examination. It must ask, Does this honor God? Does this protect human dignity? Does this move people closer to truth? Believers are called to be watchmen people who observe, discern, and faithfully proclaim God's word. The final message. The world is changing rapidly. Technology is advancing. Financial systems are transforming. Societies are becoming more connected than ever before. Some see these changes as simple progress. Others see warning signs. But for believers, the most important preparation is not only understanding world events, it is preparing the heart. Because the final battle is not only about economics. It is not only about politics. It is a spiritual battle between truth and deception, faithfulness and compromise. The Bible calls us to remain awake, to hold firmly to our faith, to seek wisdom from God. The question each person must answer is not only, what kind of world are we entering? The deeper question is, will we remain faithful to God no matter what kind of world comes? May we have the wisdom to recognize the times, the courage to stand for truth, and the faith to remain faithful until the end. Thank you for watching. If this message touched your heart, please share it with others. May God bless you and keep you.